months. And tonight, Kevin Federick, a one-time star at BYU, gets to start for the Stampeders.
Hey, the Stamps are desperate to find a way to win after back-to-back second-half collapses in the first 2 weeks of the season. Happy Canada Day from Calgary. Hey, this is a perfect way to end the celebration.
Temperature 24 degrees. The wind west 33 gusting to 46. Southwest, that's left to right across your television screen.
Ottawa head coach Joe Pow has put last Friday's devastating loss to the Bombers behind him, and he's pretty much had to with just 3 days of preparation for this one.
And Calgary's Jim Barker knows he's on the hot seat already. The Stampeders have blown the early lead in both games so far, and tonight Barker will hand the ball to the owner's son and hope for a minor miracle at McMahon. Pretty well sets it up on a wonderful afternoon in the Stampede City. Apparently something else is going on here next week, because there's all kinds of people running around town in cowboy hats.
Calgary Stampede,
the Calgary
right
Stampede
around the corner.
Follows football. Underway. Heck of a kick down inside, and this is Josh Ronick beginning inside the 20 and getting out across the 25. So Dan Crowley was close last week. He showed more patience and poise. The Renegades came within a couple of the high-flying Blue Bombers. Crowley has a couple of solid slot backs, Dimitri Bendras and relative newcomer DJ Flick. Darren Davis is back, and the run game is better. Up front, George Hudson is back at center of a solid offensive line.
Dan Crowley's played a little bit better the second game than he did in the first game, and that's really all the coach really wants from Joe Pow. Joe Pow just wants to see his starting quarterback improve every game out.
Flag on the opening kickoff, and I really missed what was going on. It landed in bounds, and I don't know what the infraction was.
They're going to line up and do it all over again. Stampeders offside, so they'll kick this one from their own 30-yard line, which automatically gives the Renegades a little bit better field position to start this game.
Absolutely.
Not to mention the fact that the guys have to cover the 45 yards on the kickoff one more time.
Well, he was the number 5 all-time passer at BYU. That's a credential that should get you a shot at a position in pro football.
But John, I can't think of any situation where there has been more pressure on a young quarterback in his first start in professional football than there is on Kevin Federick here in this one tonight. I mean, being the owner's son has added a ton of it on his shoulders.
Already, Bendras has better field position and room to run to the near side. This guy could fly, and the Renegades begin beautifully with Bendras out near the 53-yard line and chased out there by Arlane.
Well, the strength of this Calgary defense and probably the entire team is their front seven, led by Joe Fleming up front, has 3 sacks already on the season. That was in week 1. And alongside him, Demetrius Maxey, of course, the veteran Elijah Johnson in the middle. In the secondary, Hassan Proverbs. It's his second start at free safety. The injury in the preseason to Albie Henry.
Darren Davis out across midfield and into Stampeder territory.
Darren Davis in a couple of games, almost 100 yards, about a 4.1 yard average, was getting up to where he wants to be, which is right around 5. Only 24 carries in a couple of games. That's, do the math, 12 carries a game. And running backs like to touch it closer to 20, 25 times before they really feel like they get in a groove.
Well, the Renegades were playing catch-up most of last week, so that's part of the reason he didn't get the ball. Crowley went to the far side. Bendras was the target, and no connection there.
No connection, but because of the return from Demetrius Bendras, the Ottawa Renegades in fairly good field position. And as a matter of fact, after this punt and a good cover team, they've got a chance to bottle up the Calgary Stampeders early and win the field position battle at least early in this game.
Glenn Harper averaging 41.3 per punt so far this season, kicking a little stronger. And McGarity, this guy flies as well. Wayne McGarity with a 70-yard punt return touchdown against Montreal in week 1. Well, not brilliant there, was it? Kevin Federick gets his first chance to start a game as a professional quarterback, and the pressure on this young man is absolutely immense. This is Daddy's football team, and Calgary fans are not exactly 100% behind young Federick.
Well, and you know, I really don't understand why. I mean, Kevin Federick has not played for the Calgary Stampeders in the regular season, and yet he's taking the criticism like he's been around here for about 5 or 6 years, simply because he happens to be the son of the owner. You got to let the guy play and let's see what he can do.
A left-hander, as you see, and behind his intended target, he was looking for Darnell McDonald. Don Blair and Andre Arlane are the Stampeders' 2 best-known receivers as targets for Federick. Lawrence Phillips, the best-known runner, but not for his rushing totals of 84 yards in the last 2 games. Up front, Fred Childress moves back to left tackle. He's happy about that, and I think the Stampeders will be stronger there as well with Childress on the outside. This time, Federick overthrew his intended target, Lawrence Phillips.
Under pressure, Federick throws it incomplete. It is 3rd down.
Well, two throws from Federick, as he's going to have a lot of nerves that he has to work out. He's going to have the big, huge butterfly right in the middle of his stomach, and he's got to go, and he's still got to use Marcus Crandall. He's got to go over there, and even though Marcus Crandall's got to be a little frustrated with what's happening right now, he's got to use Marcus Crandall's experience as much as he can. Crandall, his 3rd season with Calgary, 2001 Grey Cup MVP, and according to Jim Barker, just wasn't playing consistent enough football for him.
Completing just 46% of his passes. Duncan O'Mahony into the breeze. Ben Ross lucky to get it back. In fact, extremely lucky to get it back. It'll be 1st and 10 Renegades when we return to Calgary. Renegades get set for a 1st down. Key to their passing game really has to be Ben Ross, and he has distinguished himself as a kick returner as well so far.
Versus Winnipeg, 123-yard return on a missed field goal, and well, that provided some excitement for the Ottawa Renegade fans.
That was the close call game for Ottawa against the Blue Bombers on Wendy's Friday Night Football last. Darren Davis, nice run straight ahead as Davis crosses the 40 and runs into George White, number 38.
Keep pounding Darren Davis in there and make sure that they establish that early and often for their offensive line and for Darren Davis. And maybe more importantly, when you're playing against the strength of the Calgary defense, which is that front 7, and more specifically the front 4, Joe Fleming, Maxey, Monroe, and Young, got to keep them honest up front.
2nd and 2, Renegades 41, loose ball, and the Stampeders say they have recovered. Hassan Proverbs comes up with the ball, number 14. So a costly turnover for Ottawa inside Renegade territory early in the opening quarter.
Antoine Young and Demetrius Maxey get great penetration right through here, and when they do, that ball is fumbled right at the handoff, but Antoine Young is there to pull him down, and Proverbs, who is coming in on a safety blitz anyway, number 14 in your screen right here, he's on his way in on the safety blitz. He just happens to be the right guy in the right time in the right spot.
Proverbs getting a chance to be a starter with the injury, a hamstring problem for Lawrence Deck.
After the injury to Aldi Henry in the preseason.
So a chain reaction as Proverbs as the starter. Federick fakes the throw and goes straight ahead. Positive yardage for the 25-year-old quarterback.
And this is what Kevin Federick really has to do a lot of in this game so he can get comfortable and get relaxed. Because talking to him on the sideline, he was saying, you know, until I get that first hit or first couple of hits in the game, I'm going to have these butterflies as big as bald eagles. But that's the perfect type of play to get him settled down. Just let him do that quarterback's draw, get a chance to get up in there and take a hit. Now, you might not want to take a hit from Donovan Carter, at least not too many.
Well, he's been playing extremely well, but Federic gets 9 yards there, making this 2nd and 1. Lawrence Phillips breaks 1. He's still going. Lawrence Phillips down to the 1-yard line. 27 yards, and that's the most sensational run we've seen from Lawrence Phillips so far in 2003.
Without a doubt, John, and a lot of blame has gone to the shoulders of Marcus Crandall for the lack of the Calgary offense to get anything going, especially in the second half. But you have to spread that blame around a little bit, and Lawrence Phillips has got off to a very slow start this season when you look at 26 carries for just 84 yards in 2 games. That was his biggest run of the year right there, and an important one.
1st and goal to go. The hometown Stampeders at the 1-yard line. And Federic won't get in. Stampeders were trying to convince the officials that he was across the line.
Find it interesting that they go down with the quarterback sneak here. Remember in week 1 when in overtime they were down on the 1-yard line and went to Lawrence Phillips. 2 plays in a row, ended up losing a yard and then gambling on 3rd down, didn't get it, and lost the football game to Montreal. So this time on 1st down, they go with that quarterback sneak, and it doesn't work. So that pressure continues to mount on this team and on Jim Barker if they don't get it down here on this down.
They didn't lose yardage this time. 2nd and goal to go from the 1. Makes up in the backfield, and that was ugly.
You know, Kevin Federic fumbled the snap from center. And this is another thing that he has to keep working on. When he's fumbled the snap, and what he did is he turned too wide because he was trying to gather the football. He has to turn right around and hand that football off. He steps this way a little bit, and when he does, he gets right in the lane of the running back.
Kelly Wiltshire making the play there.
So now what does Jim Barker do? Remember, he wants to gamble, and he's going to go again, not take the 3 points. Going to go after it.
I think
at least he's holding here. At least he's holding true to his word.
Yeah, look where we are in the game. I mean, this is early in the opening quarter. Go for the touchdown here or pin him deep. He doesn't make it.
Didn't get her.
Not that time.
No shot.
So 2 quarterback sneaks, and they can't get in from the 1. And 3 cracks at it from there. They don't get the opportunity to get into the end zone. Here's why I didn't mind Barker's call. He leaves the Renegades at the 1-yard line, a long march.
Well, I like the call because this is the philosophy he's come with. Watch this. John Grace, any question to whether or not he can play middle linebacker? Remember, he was an outside linebacker last year. Steps right up in that hole and meets Kevin Federic bang on. He gets a little bit of help from the outside from George McCullough, but that's just a middle linebacker selling out over the middle and stopping that play in its tracks.
And Grace showing why he was an All-Canadian last season. Renegades don't give up any points on the turnover, but Crowley starts from inside his end zone. Ball spotted at the 1. Crowley has time, looks deep,
he has
a target. Oh, at the 30-yard line, they couldn't quite hook up. Bendros and Crowley, they had it called perfectly.
Well, they did. They have an over route. They have one coming in here and then one going deep. That's Bendros, and it worked perfectly. Crowley has him wide open, tries to get it up and over, and just overthrows him by about 2 or 3 inches.
Wind, a bit of a problem there, perhaps, at his back.
And, you know, and for the quarterback throwing that deep ball, especially with no one around Demetrius Bendros, put a little more air on it and let his receiver run under it.
2nd and 10 Renegades. More heat on Crowley. Just got it away. George White applying the pressure there.
Now there's a flag down. George White tackled Crowley, and as he was going down, he underhand that ball across the line of scrimmage. Now, whether it's underhand or overhand, it's called a forward pass.
If it gets across the line of scrimmage,
then it's not intentional grounding. So it'll be interesting to see how the officials rule this, and they're going to wave it off. Absolutely. As long as the ball goes across the line of scrimmage, there does not have to be a receiver in the area, and that ball certainly did, even though it was thrown underhand. This saves a couple of points. and maybe worse for the Ottawa Renegades. Watch the underhand throw right there to just put it across the line of scrimmage from Dan Crowley. Now, Ottawa still may give up 2.
At this point, with Harper in the end zone and McGarity standing out near the 50-yard line of Ottawa.
Yeah, he's not just in it, he's over his head in it. Yeah, there he goes. He didn't give up 2. That's a good decision. You know, and when I say that Crowley's play saved the 2 points, more importantly, it saved Crowley getting hit and possibly fumbling the football. Threw it across the line of scrimmage, no intentional grounding. They can control the situation now with their punt team, give up 2, and get some field position back. Good decision by Joe Paopao.
Yeah, and it worked out well for Barker, too. I mean, he controlled with his defense, kept them in and got 2 points instead of what he might have taken as the 3 there.
Well, and it's his philosophy, and he's sticking with it.
Yeah.
You got to give him credit for that, no question.
Everybody decently happy with the turn of events. We'll be right back to the Canada Day Bash in Calgary. Welcome back to McMahon. Calgary Stampeders looking at a first down after picking up 2 points on the safety. This drive for Federic begins at the 35 with Lawrence Phillips. And there was no running room for Phillips there. John Grace was waiting for him.
Well, he sure was. That's a couple of big hits from John Grace, who moves into that middle. He's playing the middle linebacker. We've seen a couple of big plays. Kelly Wilshire, the leader. Gerald Vaughn out of the lineup, replaced by Chandler Smith. And there's your secondary. The newcomer will be George McCullough at the halfback, but watch out for Donovan Carter here tonight. He likes to hit him.
Starting lineups brought to you by Tums. Tums tackles heartburn fast. Gain is 1, 2nd and 9, Stampeders. McGarity over the middle. Federic looks for him. He's got the strike, and McGarity is across midfield and into Renegades territory.
You know, when I watch McGarity play, and we haven't seen a whole lot of them, we've seen a lot more of them on special teams. I mean, his punt return average in 2 games is 18 yards. That's pretty much amazing. He reminds me a little bit of Terry Vaughn, and just the reason I say that is because this is a small player that's very strong in the legs, comes up with the catch, and always does something with the football after he catches it. And of course, Terry Vaughn's made such a great reputation with what he does after the catch.
19 yards the gain. Stampeders are set up right at midfield. First down for Federic. Takes off himself, sliding safely near the 50-yard line.
You know, there's no question that Kevin Federic's strength is his legs right now. At where he is in his development as a young quarterback, at this level, his strength is his legs. He's got to use that quickness, run around and get outside. He played in the XFL and happened to be the same time that Joe Paopao was the coach. Joe Paopao, on the opposite sideline, actually worked with Kevin Federic, said, watch the kid run.
Picked up 6 there. So he has positive yardage along the ground. And another completion here. This will go for a first down. Big hit on Lawrence Phillips. Wow. Lost his lid. Fred Perry playing into Lawrence Phillips there. Phillips is already playing with a lot more intensity than we've seen so far.
Well, so is Fred Perry, because this is some kind of car wreck. Watch how Phillips puts the brakes on and cuts back, and when he does, here comes the semi. Bam! Right in the hole. I don't know how Phillips kept his feet, hung on to that football. He lost his helmet. Look out. That's big time. Oh, man, his mouth guard was hanging out.
Phillips picks up a hard 6. Divert. Scott Divert doesn't get to carry the ball frequently.
Lawrence Phillips, I know he's got to be doing that inventory. And the inventory is, give me a second here on the sideline. Let me get us a sip of water, and let me just go down. Okay, I'll start on my head. Feels okay. Shoulders, not bad. He goes all the way down to make sure that he's okay, because that is a big-time hit with both players' feet solidly planted on the ground. He turned around, and Fred Perry was right there. Oh, boy. That knocked the helmet off, the mouth guard out. He's probably checking for teeth.
And a big-time run by Scott Dibert, the native of Moose Jaw, in relief.
I tell you what,
Lawrence Phillips there to pick up 10 yards on the very next play.
I'll tell you what, John, this Ottawa defense will hit you. And they have established themselves in 2 games very quickly to be one of the hardest hitting defenses the league has seen this year. I mean, they will bring it down after down, and it's sort of led right down the middle. John Grace, we've seen a couple of big pops from him, and he has to go and sort of, I mean, they hit you so hard, they knock themselves out. And John Grace is going to go and take some inventory as well, but you know, Dave Thomas will come in and play the middle, and he hits at 6'3", 241. Of course, Kelly Wilshire is the leader. And then let's not forget number 2, right down Main Street. And all the receivers know one thing: if they go in that area, Donovan Carter's going to be hanging out waiting for him. And he isn't going to play the ball. That's his second option.
He goes after the body. 1st and 10. Impressive drive for Federick here. Nice play action fake, got it away. Reginbald is inside the 10-yard line. So Federick has moved this team effectively, and Donovan Carter comes up to make the stop. He's gone to Scott Dybert and then to Scott Reginbald. 2 extras in this Calgary offense.
Little play action pass. He's going to run the play action to Dybert this way and then just boot out the opposite side. And now, because he's stretched the outside with his legs, he puts the defense in a bind. Wilshire has to come up because of the running ability of Federick, and that leaves receiver in behind him wide open in Scott Reginbald.
Reginbald picks up 22 yards, and this is an impressive drive when you consider that Federick is going into the breeze here in Calgary. Another nice fake. Reginbald again stopped at the 4-yard line, and penalty markers are down. It was Donovan Carter there waiting.
You know, and Federick is starting to settle in, and we talked about how he moved that pocket, used his legs, ran a quarterback draw, ran almost the old-fashioned quarterback sweep on one play, and now he looks comfortable in the pocket. He rolled out there, kind of half-rolled right behind the tackle, and kind of sidearm.
Contact, an eligible receiver, Ottawa number 1. First down.
Little sidearm toss out there to Scott Reginbald.
So Kelly Wilshire making illegal contact on a receiver eligible. So the Stampeders are knocking on the door again. 1st and goal to go.
Well, it's a backside option out this way.
Stampeders at the 5. Federick is stopped in his tracks. He faked it. And Cromartie didn't fall for it.
Well, he didn't fall for that fake. I knew the way they had their formation set up that they are either going to fake this way or they were going to come this way. It was the short side of the field. And here comes this one right of your stance right here in the 3-point. Keaton Cromartie does not buy this fake to Lawrence Phillips at all. And see all the offensive linemen go too. Now it's Cromartie one-on-one with Federick in open field, and he brings him down.
Nice play by Keaton Cromartie. He's applied great pressure in the first 2 games for the Renegades. Federick end zone toss. McDonald was the intended receiver, and the fans didn't like the no call there on the coverage by Byron Capers.
Yeah, and that's good coverage, and that's two athletes competing down the field for position. And Byron Capers just turned around and knocked the ball out of there. This is basically what's called a fade pattern. Just a couple steps back, and you're just going to throw it to a spot. Kevin Federick out there in hopes that McDonald can out-jump Byron Capers. He turned, looked at the football, and actually got his hand on it to knock it out of bounds. No call, and it's a good no call.
Positive drive, though, for Federick and the Stampeders. They got down to the 5-yard line and couldn't get any further than that, so they'll settle for a McLaughlin field goal. And he puts it through. 5 for 5 in the season for Mark McLaughlin. He's perfect so far. Stampeders should be happy about a drive that consumed 5 minutes and 57 seconds into the wind and netted 3 points.
Yeah, I think Kevin Federick is put a couple of drives together now and starting to feel settled in and comfortable. And They're starting to use Lawrence Phillips a little bit more, and Phillips is a little more productive. Now we'll see if he can bounce back from that huge hit that he suffered from Fred Perry on that last series, because we didn't see him after the hit. He went with Scott Reginbald.
Well, he was out for one play but didn't get the ball. That was the fake where Federic got caught.
That's right. In there as the decoy, but never touched the ball after that big hit. So we'll see how he recovers from that. I mean, that was a jolt. That's a semi-truck hitting a sports car.
Dimitris Bendras returning for the Renegades. Looks to the outside, has a little room on the far side of the field, and Scott Dybert was there. This Bendras has had a season already, hasn't he? 123-yard field goal return against Winnipeg last week. He's dangerous every time he gets his hands on the football.
Let's take one more peek at what was one of the most exciting plays of the 2003 season from Dimitris Bendras. Missed field goal by Troy Westwood. One chance for the Bombers to get him at the goal line, and then goodbye. Look at the tremendous speed. You just can't coach that.
Renegades will have a first down out across the 50-yard line. It's Reggie Jones, 87.
87, Reggie Jones with the grab. Brought down by Calgary's 37.
10 catches for Reggie Jones in a couple of games. He's starting to get comfortable at that wide receiver position. He's been around the league off and on for a few years, but hasn't really established himself.
Played 6 games for Ottawa last year.
First and 10 at the Calgary 47.
Dan Crowley settled down in week 2 and came close to beating the Blue Bombers. Penalty markers are down. This is Bendras. He's got the 40-yard line.
A huge assignment for George Hudson, Mike Abimeshrik, and Val St. Germain in the middle of that offensive line for the Renegades here this evening. They have to face Demetrius Maxey and Joe Fleming, and Fleming got out to such a great start in week 1 with 3 sacks, and everybody on that front 4 has got involved in the sack stats already. 1 across the board and then 3 for Joe Fleming.
Calgary, number 91, first down repeated.
And before long, because of the way he goes every single play, it's full speed, teams inevitably have to double team him.
Well, and he really helps the guys beside him.
That's why
Demetrius Maxey perform well this year. And a couple of young guys up front, too, and Antoine Young and Aries Monroe. And it's all really keyed on number 76. Trouble with this. He got it and fires it into row 4. Crowley had trouble with it. Lucky to get the ball back. Pressure from Antoine Young.
There is a flag.
Now they have a flag down. He has to get it across the line of scrimmage.
No infraction in the play. The ball was thrown across the line of scrimmage.
That's good. That's twice they made the correct call and made sure you throw the flag automatically and then make sure you get it right, see where the ball ended up, and then go ahead and call the play. But George Hudson is the center, and he see how he's trying to slide over and double team on Joe Fleming, and that distracts him enough that he doesn't put the right velocity and the right distance on the snap.
So Fleming created another one there.
Well, there you go.
And almost a turnover. 2nd and 5, Renegades. Out of the backfield, they'll come up short on the connection to Darren Davis.
Well, John, and I love the point you made about what Demetrius Maxey and Joe Fleming at 10 years and 7 years in the CFL, respectively, can do for Antoine Young and Aries Monroe. Because, I mean, it goes as far as looking over to Mr. Monroe and saying, you line up right here. You put your hand right there. You go straight up the field. And those two guys in the middle can help the young guys on the outside tremendously throughout the season. Their learning curve can just flatten right out.
Lawrence Tynes has his first of the night. 11th field goal of the season in 14 attempts. So Lawrence Tynes
The Renegades 3.
comes up with 3 points, and Tynes' field goal makes it 5-3 after.
Ottawa not a lot of success offensively, and Kevin Federic, not bad for the first quarter.
Stampeders coming up a little shy in red zone opportunities with just 3 points. The gamble that didn't pay off the first time, and settling for a field goal when they had an opportunity from the 5-yard line, but still positive yardage for a young quarterback making his debut under all this pressure.
And for this coach and Jim Barker, both coaches and both teams, believe it or not, are in similar situations. I mean, first of all, with Barker, he's got a new squad, a whole bunch of new faces on the team, new coaching staff. So basically, this is brand new here in Calgary. And then on the opposite sideline, Joe Paopao, his team is, believe it or not, 20 games old.
Ottawa, ball scrimmage from the 45-yard line. First down.
Usually we talk about teams being 20, 30 years old. Well, his team is 20 games old.
And not playing like that.
No.
I mean, in reality, this Renegades team, very solid on defense.
Very competitive over 2 weeks of football for them.
First down, Stampeders. Federic back. Flags are down, and he missed his target. Looking for Donnie Blair. Here's Ken Chillibeck on the sidelines.
Second down.
Okay, guys, one thing that this quarterback controversy, if you want to call it, the Federic story all week long, it's taken a lot of the heat away from Lawrence Phillips. Let's face it, Lawrence Phillips has not done much in the first 2 games of the CFL season for the Calgary Stampeders. Certainly deflected a lot of the potential criticism away from Phillips. One thing Coach Barker was talking about yesterday is he wanted to see Phillips get more action in this game and see if he can help maybe take some of the pressure off the quarterback at the same time. Guys?
Well, that's a good point, because your running game can take pressure off. I mean, look what Lawrence Phillips did last year. Here's the big one. Right there, 4.5 yards per carry. This year drops down to 3.2. That only looks like a small amount, like 1 yard. But if you do it over the course of an entire game, ends up to be 20, 30, 35 yards.
And a complete miscommunication down there on that play, as Wayne McGarity was the closest Stampeder receiver.
Well, it was,
to the
John.
football.
That's exactly what it was. And you could tell by Kevin Federic's reaction that he wanted McGarry to sit down in the hole. And what that means, rather than run right through, just sit down there in behind about 5 yards shorter. And of course, McGarry just kept running right through down the sideline.
That'll make this 2nd and 20. You have to put this quarterbacking situation in perspective, however. The kid was here and first scouted by Bob Obilovich and signed by Wally Buono. His father bought the team after he was a member of the Stampeders. Federic under pressure again. Cromartie can't get to it. This one is picked off, however, throwing on the run. Lewisdor.
Number 37.
Well, Federic does the right thing, getting out of bounds or getting outside the pocket and buying himself some time. But this is what young quarterbacks will do. They'll try to make everything happen on one play. This is a play that doesn't have a whole lot of hope. He's got John Gray staring down at him. He's got a whole bunch of DBs. Massane Lewisdor coming all the way across the field. And he tried to force it in there to Ricky Lloyd.
Yeah, he throws to a rookie receiver on top of that,
well,
right? When you're looking at situations that can go awry.
And you can't make the play on every single down. It just doesn't happen.
First turnover going Ottawa's way. Let's see what Crowley can do with the opportunity. Looking deep. Too far by about 15 yards.
Oh, yeah, but Davis Sanchez is in absolute perfect position. And he's out there on that corner, and boy, he from his years in Montreal down in San Diego Chargers, he is in top form. Davis Sanchez has played tremendous in 2 games for the Stamps after signing a lucrative contract, the CFL standards, and he certainly is playing up to par, because that was step-for-step coverage, and it has been all season.
A little miscalculation cost him some NFL money.
It did.
But he's taking that in stride. Crowley under the cover this time. Darren Davis. And he's close to a first down at the 40-yard line. Jason Bray up to make the tackle.
Only because of that second effort. And, it's a second effort from your running back that gives you a chance. And what he's going to do is he's going to make Joe Paopao have to make a decision. Because it's going to be that close. In fact, so close that they'll have to measure. But that's second effort, he had defensive back Jason Bray hanging all over him. Just kept those feet chugging.
How close is he? How about that close? Pow was saying in week 1 that when he did have the opportunity on 3rd and short, he would be going for it.
Well, you just saw him shake his head. Yeah, let's go. Dan Crowley stays in the game. Certain Crowley will pick one side of the center, George Hudson, and try and slide raw off. Now, Demetrius Maxey and Joe Fleming will be sitting there waiting for him. You can bet on that.
Talk about going on 3rd and 1. That's part of the philosophy of Ottawa, but this is 3rd and inches, so it should be a cakewalk for Crowley under the cover of a couple of players. He dives in, and that'll be a first down. This Ottawa drive continues.
Crowley just got nice and low because that defensive line, pretty good surge from them. He somehow found a way to duck under it, but it's going to be close enough. They're going to have to bring the chains out, and anytime the chains come out again, even if it was only inches, the coaches get nervous. Wow.
By 4 inches. There you go. That one didn't pay off. Thought for sure Crowley would have it, but Fleming was right there in the middle of things. And it's a turnover for Calgary.
Announcements will be made tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and they're getting their air miles,
Then
and
they
they're
get-
all excited
they're-
about things
they're
like that.
pumped up.
You know.
They don't take many flights. Schultz needs a couple of seats.
Lawrence Phillips around the corner. Definitely his best afternoon in a Stampeder uniform already. Donovan Carter, who's been outstanding at safety for the Renegades, over to make the stop.
Good timing for Kevin Federick for Lawrence Phillips to start picking up his game. And this is the type of cut when he bounces out on the second one. Watch how he hits in the middle, doesn't see anything there, and then bounces outside. And when he does that, he meets Donovan Carter, but not until he had picked up about 9 yards. Boy, he will hit you. Donovan Carter. Every player that he plays against has a bullseye
Yes.
on the jersey. That's all he sees is a bullseye. There's no number for Donovan Carter. Big old bullseye. That time it was, the bullseye was in the shape of a 6.
Lawrence Phillips just short of 10 yards and 2nd inches Calgary.
2nd and inches for the Stampeders now.
Well, you know, and both teams offensively have had to fight for every inch. We've seen the defenses from both teams now, with Ottawa with a goal line stand, and then Calgary defense just held Ottawa on 3rd down. So every inch tough to come by for these offenses.
This is 2nd and inches, however. After another nice run for Lawrence Phillips, he has 3 carries for 38 yards. The longest being 27. So 2nd and inches facing the Stampeders now. And Federick will have the first down. Talking about Donovan Carter, how about Friday Night Football with Donovan Carter in Ottawa?
Well, yeah, when you do what Donovan Carter did on Friday Night Football, you hits like that across the middle. Jamie Stoddard hits like this on Milt Stegall. You know, you're also an athlete. You can hit him, but you can also pick him up. Gerald Vaughn with a bit of a block here.
And this is a beauty, isn't
nice
it?
bounce. Donovan Carter took it in the end zone on the special teams. And if you have a game like that, be the gladiator.
Nowhere for Phillips that time. They ran right into Fred Perry.
Well, they're getting to know each other, aren't they? Fred Perry and Lawrence Phillips. And Fred Perry has been, you know, making a lot of these hits from the backside of plays, which shows great hustle. And it really is amazing with both of these football teams, with what they'd had to gone through over the last couple of days. I mean, 3 days of Perry up here on the top of your screen. 3 days of preparation for the Ottawa Renegades, 4 basically for the Calgary Stampeders, who played the night before Ottawa did on Friday. So they haven't had that much more time to prepare. And in fact, both coaches not really able to even put the pads on or really have any real practice, because they've had to just go through walkthroughs and have the guys recoup. And get ready for this one.
And it does take a day or two for a football player to recover, doesn't it?
It's taken me 10 years.
You're not there yet.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Sports Center Newsroom. I'm Darren DeTischer. We're going to get you back to the football game in just a moment or two. Just a reminder, the next edition of Sports Center will come your way immediately following.
All the way down the list, I'm thinking, I've got a young quarterback in his first start. We're rushing the football. We double these stats, we win the ball game.
Well, let's see what Jim Barker had to say about his young quarterback as he spoke with Ken Chillibeck.
Coach, your evaluation of your young quarterback in the first half.
Well, you know, he's struggling at some things, just a lot of little things like the last play. We got to get the ball off so we can kick a field goal. You know, those are things you got to learn, and he'll learn. He's a tough kid. He's hanging in there. We just got to make more plays.
A lot of missed opportunities.
Yes, a lot of missed opportunities. Our defense playing great. Our special teams are playing great. We just got to pick it up on offense.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Lawrence Phillips, 65 yards rushing. He has already put up a season high. Stamps by 12.
3. And let's take a look at how it transpired for him.
Well, you know, he had the nerves, and the butterflies started early and wasn't real accurate throwing the football. Had a couple of incompletions out of the gate. He got some pressure on him, no question. Ottawa will test him with some pressure, and that got him running around a little bit. A couple of sacks, and had the guys bearing down on him, but he did settle in late in that second quarter. In the second quarter, this was his best pass of the game so far to Don Blair. Got a little confidence from that one. And then he found, with some pressure around him, settled in, found Wayne McGarity.
Yeah, this is a huge play, and there's an opportunity here to get another 6.
Yeah, and that's where he had some poor clock management between the quarterback, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, however you want to spread the blame around. 7 seconds to go, and couldn't get that ball out of there in time. Lost their chance.
Yeah, and they also had a timeout that they could have used at that particular point in time. The numbers on Federick, 6 of 14, 137, but more importantly, he has a 15-3 lead on the scoreboard. Let's go down to Ken Chillibeck with the Ottawa head coach.
Joe, talk about the play of your team in the first half. What was the message in the locker room?
Oh, we're playing kind of flat. You know, our defense is keeping us in the game, and you know, you're not going to win a lot of games with 80 yards of offense. And so we've got to start moving the sticks, and you know, we've got to put some drives together and get that thing turned around. You know, and we can't turn the ball over and take some silly penalties. So you know what? You know, look for a better game out of us the second half.
Any thoughts of changing your quarterback in the second half?
We're making a change right now.
Who's in?
Kerry Joseph, our number 2 guy.
How about that?
Well, there you go. There's the announcement, and Dan Crowley will watch at least a few series, and we'll get a good look at Kerry Joseph. And Kerry Joseph stretches out now for real, because this is his first chance to get in there and when the bullets are flying.
A rookie out of McNeese State as far as the Canadian Football League is concerned. He's 29. He has kicked around the National Football League and started at free safety down there for a number of teams along the way. And the reason he has come to Ottawa to play for the Renegades is he wants his opportunity to play quarterback. So he's not by any stretch a rookie to football at the professional level. He's 29 years old.
Well, and he's been the great story in Ottawa when it comes to their quarterbacks, and that great battle for the second spot. Basically won it.
Josh Ronick will give the Renegades half-decent field position out about the 33.
He basically won it in training camp because he actually came in and probably was the long shot at least 3 or 4 in the depth chart, simply because he hadn't played the position for so long. Like you mentioned, went down to the National Football League, and they loved his athletic ability, so Washington Redskins made him a running back, and then he went to Seattle, played strong safety there. And he actually played in games at strong safety, was a great athlete, obviously still a great athlete, but he wants to play quarterback.
And that's the reason he's come across the border to join the Ottawa Renegades. First pass for Kerry Joseph. No, he decides to take off. Terrific run by Kerry Joseph. The first time he gets his hands on the ball in the CFL. He's all the way to the 45. Kelly Malvo got over to make the tackle after a huge gain.
So this is a chance to take a look at what he can do as a running back, and not a bad way to get started. Little play action pass rather than throw when you're not perfectly comfortable. Take off and run. And look at his ability to run the football. He looks like a running back in the open field, holding the ball properly. Took
Tucked
the
it
hit
under and picked up 32 yards.
and didn't hook slide.
First throw, and that's on the money and dropped. Bendros had it and let it get away.
Passing incomplete
And
for
Kelly
Ottawa.
Malville
First
might have
and 10.
helped him out in the dropping end of that play.
Took a hit almost as the ball arrived, but he did have it for a split second.
First chance for now. Kerry Joseph, it's second and long, passing down. You know Calgary will likely come with some pressure.
Second and 10, Ottawa.
Alonzo Johnson up there in the line of scrimmage right there.
Pretty good indication the heat is coming here on 2nd and 10. Well blocked for the moment. Joseph steps up, has Bendros this time. Good move by Bendros, and he'll get the first down.
It's number 86, Demetrius Bendros with the catch.
So far, great poise from Kerry Joseph. Again, he played a lot in the preseason. In both preseason games, got a chance to play in Quebec City. Had some success against Montreal in game 2 of the preseason. And that shows a lot of poise to be able to slip out of the pocket like that with the pressure coming and find your target, Demetrius Bendros.
Bendros picks up 16 with a little dipsy doodle here. And quickly the Renegades are set up. First down at the Calgary 30. 3 receivers to the near side. Joseph goes back against the flow, looks smooth and had it.
Oh, they had it.
Open man and underthrew him just a little bit. Mike Maurer.
John, this is a play that you can only do once. And because it's one of those plays, it's like a trick play almost. What they're trying to do is get Maurer back here, the fullback, to slip out of here and just disappear. And what Kerry Joseph does is roll the opposite way. Now, Maurer's just kind of disappear. Like, guys, I'm not involved. It's kind of like one of those sleeper plays when you're playing in the sandlot and you go over there and you pretend you have an injury and you lie down. My hamstring. Guys, go on without me. And then you jump up and run down the sideline.
Well, that's you in your flag football league,
Well,
right?
yeah, you can only do it once, though.
2nd and 10. Oh, he takes a hit. That was Alondra Johnson.
Oh, was it ever? And that was a perfect stunt between Demetrius Maxey and great disguise by Alondra Johnson to time it up. Johnson lined up here. There he is there, and watch how he sneaks around, and then bam, just hits it right in that gap. And Demetrius Maxey helps him out by pulling the right guard, Mike Abumeshrik, and he is right in the lap of Kerry Joseph. Has no chance to throw the ball.
And number 10, Lawrence Times, attempting a 37-yard field goal.
Not a bad opening drive, though, for Joseph.
Very, very positive result. Lawrence Times from 37, and he's got that one.
37 yards.
So the Renegades begin with the first points of the second half. It's 15-6 in Calgary.
On the edge of our seats. Remember back in 1988, the Olympics here in Calgary?
Karen Percy, a couple of bronze. Liz Manley, a silver.
That was Eddie the Eagle, wasn't it?
Eddie the Eagle was soaring.
Soaring
Absolutely.
over.
Outstanding games in Calgary. Here's Federick away from the initial wave, and John Grace comes up and locks on him.
Well, it's interesting now. You look at the way the game has developed. We started with a quarterback in Kevin Federick that's starting in his first game in the pro football, and after a half, we're seeing Kerry Joseph on the opposite sideline getting a chance to play in his first game in pro football. So, chance to take a look at some of the young quarterbacks in this league.
You got to look at a few last night. How many did they play last evening? 6? 3 aside?
All 3.
Everybody played.
Until Ron Lancaster pulled the plug on the stadium lights.
I think that was a good decision by Ronnie.
I guess it wasn't Ronnie, but I'm sure he'd like to.
Federick can't find anyone. Spins to the 40.
You know, and I'll give Kevin Federick credit for this, and that's that he has taken a bunch of hits. He certainly has competed when it comes to running around. He has taken the ball, tried to press the edge, try to run with the football, and he hasn't hook slided once. He hasn't gone down once. He's taken the hits, stands in there, trying to get some extra yards. And, you know, his challenge over the last couple of years has been his arm strength. And that will be something that he'll continue to work on, something that he struggled with a little bit here this evening. but he has played this game tough.
Duncan O'Mani. Demetris Bendras. Whoa! Pays for one there. Wes Lysak leading the tacklers for the Calgary Stampeders. 1st and 10 Renegades when we return to McMahon. For every sack in tonight's game, Purelator will contribute the quarterback's weight in food to the Calgary Food Bank. So far, over 3.5 tons of food have been donated as a result of quarterback sacks, courtesy of Purelator. Purelator tackles hunger.
That list right there up to date. Ottawa came into the game with 3, now have 5. Those are the only 2 sacks registered in this game. But I have a sense that Joe Fleming, big 76, might have one before the game's over.
Yeah, he's in a bit of a drought, isn't he?
Well, he has to go to the sideline right now to get some equipment repair, but you can't keep him down for long.
No, Fleming had 3 in the first game against Montreal.
And puts him in a tie for the lead. Mr. Thompson in Montreal.
Won't get it away, or does he? He shoveled it ahead, and it is across the line of scrimmage, so no flag goes down on 1st and 10.
Well,
Alondra Johnson is there.
That's right. And here's what the Calgary Stampeders are going to do is they're going to send Alondra Johnson, Willie Fells, Otis Floyd, and the rest of the linebacking core. There's Alondra Johnson off the edge. He's not blocked. And with the young quarterback in there, they want to make him rush his decision, force him into a mistake, try and throw that ball when he doesn't want to. So they're going to send a lot of pressure. Watch for him to go with it one more time here on 2nd and long.
He's watched a lot of quarterbacks in his illustrious career. Alondra Johnson. Joseph just a little bit high for Bendras at the 40-yard line.
And
Joseph.
Late flag. John, in the backside here of the play, Andre Kerwan was in a bit of a pushing match down here on the sideline. Sam Proverbs was involved, and seeing to see what happens here, because this could keep the drive alive for Ottawa if it's against the Calgary Stampeders. And Jim Barker does not look happy about it.
So that is a pretty good indication that Hassan Proverbs is guilty.
And the other indication is that the offense for Ottawa is back on the field again.
Objection of conduct. Calgary number 14. First down.
Ooh, and you get a first down out of it.
Second start for Hassan Proverbs. That was way on the backside of the play. That was 55 yards away from what was going on. And it was between him and Andre Kerwan. And see a little payback one way or another from that one.
So the Renegades get a first down as a result from the 42. Nifty move by Darren Joseph to get out to the 50. Good footwork there.
And Darren Davis on that play, John, was patient. He was patient with the football. Bouncing around, waiting for everything to develop. Had a couple of pulling linemen coming around for him. Watch how the offensive line just going to pull around the corner, and watch Darren Davis. Now, patient. Stop right there. Hold it. Nice patience there. Just look at the vision. He sees that opening. He sees that gap. Now he bounces back to the outside. Picks up nice yardage. That's great vision.
Great footwork as well. For an 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2, so Davis gets it again, and he'll have the first down. He's out to midfield. And stopped there by Joe Fleming, 76.
Darren Davis hasn't seen the football quite as much as Lawrence Phillips in this game. And in fact, in the second half, it started to add up. First half, it was more Lawrence Phillips, and now a few runs, and all of a sudden you see 7 carries, and those yardage totals starting to add up for Darren Davis as well.
Phillips has had a couple of terrific runs for the Stampeders tonight.
The way Kerry Joseph, we've seen him run the ball to establish again Darren Davis in the middle of that offense and try and attack the middle of the defense will probably get Kerry Joseph to push the perimeter a little bit. Play action pass, bootleg, things of that nature.
And you mentioned Joseph carries the ball like a running back, where he's more experienced of late. Coming out of college, he was a quarterback, but has spent time in the National Football League as a running back and as a free safety.
It looks like he has nice command of the huddle there. You sort of saw him there stand up tall and tell everybody to play and then break the huddle. That was crisp.
First down, Ottawa. Penalty flags are down. So is Joseph. And the pass on the far side, no connection with Bendros.
Andre Kerwan was about 6 yards. And this is something when you get a new quarterback in, there's a new cadence, a new rhythm to that cadence. The receivers have to try and time it up and make sure they understand exactly when that ball is going to be snapped, because
Offside.
they're running full
Ottawa,
speed.
81. Decline. Second down.
Renegades with the only points thus far in the second half. Joseph engineering a drive for a field goal by Lawrence Tynes. And that took a little too long. Another rookie error down there, one would guess.
Well, here's what has to happen now, though, especially with Kerry Joseph in the game. Those calls have to be relayed from up in the booth. Ken Dostin, who's helping up in the booth with the offensive coordination, in charge of quarterbacks and receivers, a young group, obviously.
Ottawa number 4. Still second down.
So he comes up with the ideas up there and has a good vision of what's going on and the blitzes that Calgary's throwing at him. He sends them down to Joe Paopao, who's got the headset on, and Paopao, now you see him trying to communicate through signals to young quarterback Kerry Joseph, who has to process that and then call the play in the huddle.
5-yard penalty means second and 15, Ottawa.
So it's a three-way process at times, and that can cost you precious seconds, which it did on the last play. And another flag is Bendros this time. Looks like he got the early start.
It's the cadence, and see, Kerry Joseph is trying to figure out, he's going over there talking to the receivers and saying, guys, just give me a second to settle in, you know, and receivers try and hit that line of scrimmage going full speed. And they're used to Dan Crowley. That's all they've heard.
Ottawa, 67. Still second down.
They listened to Dan Crowley for 2 straight games, one that was basically 3 working days ago. And now they've got Kerry Joseph, who they haven't heard since the second preseason game, and that was only for 1 quarter.
Another 5-yard penalty, so make it second.
As a result of another 5-yard penalty, this is second and 20 facing the rookie at quarterback for Ottawa, Kerry Joseph.
And they did it again.
Flag.
They did it again.
And another flag. And Joseph is wrapped up, surrounded by Stampeders down there. Aries Monroe is there, along with Joe Fleming.
Well, they did it again, and it looked to me like it was Demetrius Bendros for the second straight time. You know, and one way that you could probably avoid this is to go on first sound. In other words, the first sound out of the quarterback is when you go.
First sack for the Stampeders.
Ottawa 6 decline. Holding Ottawa 6-7 decline. Third down.
And that drive just went backwards on every play. See, here's the waggle, and look how far Bendros gets down the field. He's waiting for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, can't even give him the benefit of the doubt there.
Harper's punts. McGarity takes it on the first hop. Can't stay in bounds. Momentum carried McGarity out, but it'll be first and 10 Stampeders when we return for Canada Day at McMahon. Leagues, here's what he's looking for from a quarterback with the Calgary Stampeders this year.
As a quarterback, and I think that, you know, if you talk to any quarterback, all they want is an opportunity. Just put him on the field. And if he's the kind of guy that can take you to a Grey Cup, it doesn't matter what the situation. It doesn't matter whether there's 1 day between games or 20 days between games. Just get him on the field, and he will make plays, and he will show you he can win. That's what you have to have. And, you know, hopefully that's what we're going to see from Kevin.
Have we seen that?
Well, I think you've seen the start of that. I think you've seen the start to the process, and it doesn't happen overnight unless your name is Ricky Ray. But for 99.9% of the quarterbacks, it is a process. But this young man has been in a lot of big games in his college career.
Federic makes contact. McGarity.
And I had a nice chance to chat with Kevin Federic before the game. He talked about his nerves and the pressure that's on him. And he's played in some pressure games. I mean, he told me that there was no more pressure on him than his first start at BYU. It was in '97. Plays against Arizona State. Gets his first chance to take the football for BYU. and wins 13-10 in Arizona at their building.
He also threw for 601 yards in a game against Washington in 1999.
Yeah, and that's as a senior, won that game 35-28, and really silenced a bunch of critics that were on him a little bit at that time. He's played under pressure in big games in college football.
Pendra spins, looks for a block, gets one. Didn't quite get the second block necessary. George White leading the Stampeder tacklers downfield. He's been a terrific acquisition in Calgary. Damon's return to the stadium at BC Place is Friday night. There's our view. Of course, Vancouver.
Matt Dunnigan used to play for the BC Lions, and you know, all I can say that the fact that the four are on their way back to Vancouver, it's a good thing that we have a lawyer employed in the group.
How do you think Clammy got the job?
Well, yeah, you know. I know that helped.
Nice play action fake. And then the hit came. He was looking to hook up with Mike Maurer.
Yeah, and that was, the hit was on its way, and that was from Joe Fleming. We talked about the fact that you can't keep Joe Fleming quiet for long. I mean, he went one-on-one there, and he had a chance. He's right in here in that three-point stance.
And as you promised, Fleming does have a sack tonight. Not here, but that previous sequence.
Very close to that one.
And close there, you're right. On second down.
Nice throw.
Heck of a throw. Oh. First down, Renegades.
Yeah, now that's a throw.
Andre Kerwan making the catch, and Malvo supplying the hit.
Well, it's impressive for two reasons. The velocity in the throw and the target area, he puts it right on the spot. But I like the timing. You see how I put everything into it? In fact, he did so much that he went down. Look at the timing. Just kind of floated out to the sideline, and that ball is on the money because Kelly Malvo is close by.
That was a bullet. 11 yards to gain. First down, the Renegades. Josh Ronick. He's out to the 50.
Again, and this is something that I think that Kerry Joseph will go back and talk to Joe Paopao maybe after this series. See how Ronick goes in there. And Kerry Joseph carried through with the fake to the outside and was clear. I mean, not a soul in sight for Kerry Joseph.
16 yards for Josh Ronick. And another Renegades first down. Approaching the 50-yard line. Shotgun Joseph. There's his target, and he couldn't connect. Looking for DJ Flick.
You know, and that may look to most people that was just a bad throw, but I disagree. I think Kerry Joseph was deliberately trying to lead DJ Flick to the sideline because of where the coverage was. Coverage was provided by Kelly Malvo, and because he was so hard on the inside shoulder of Flick, that Kerry Joseph deliberately threw that ball to the outside.
Wanted Flick to make the move after.
Absolutely, and just sort of fade to the outside and go after it.
Renegades at the 49, second and 10. Montana had it, dropped it, flag down right on the line of scrimmage.
Well, they sent everybody. The Calgary Stampeders put them all on the line. And they went after him, and Joseph recognized it, did what he had to do, get the ball out of his hands.
Got it away, Montana drops it.
That's right.
Offside, Ottawa 86, decline. Third down.
Still having problems with that motion.
That's Bendros again.
Vince Danielson has formed a league-wide every yard counts program as CFL players go down.
And an answer when Calgary wants to put everybody on the line of scrimmage, an answer for that is crossing patterns. Quick crossers over the middle where those linebackers are supposed to have been.
McGarity dancing around. Only a couple as Aubrey Cummings, the next Stampeder, came down to make the special teams tackle. Stampeders first down just across the 20. Federick hands off. Divert tries to spin it to the outside, and no luck there. Vernon Mitchell was there to make the tackle. And we don't see Lawrence Phillips in the lineup, so let's get the lowdown from Ken Chilliwack.
Well, guys, unfortunately, Lawrence Phillips is on his way to the hospital for x-rays. Talked to Pat Clayton, the athletic therapist for the Calgary Stampeders. He said that he broke his left hand. No indication of where that or when that break took place, but certainly a tough situation for Calgary, considering he scored the first touchdown as a Calgary Stampeder earlier in this game.
And was having his best evening as a Stampeder as well. 65 yards before he left the game. Lawrence Phillips. Federick has McGarity. Made a nice move on the football to make the catch. George McCullough with the tackle.
Well, and it also puts Calgary in a bit of a bind when you talk Lawrence Phillips out of the game, because now Kevin Federick doesn't have the luxury of that running game to balance his attack. And when you look behind him now, you're going to see two fullbacks, either Scott Reginbald or Scott Dybert, or both. And both, of course, in the game primarily to block and maybe the odd screen pass or the odd running play when you need a yard or two. Definitely both not lined up as tailbacks. So it changes things dramatically for the Calgary Stampeders offensively.
And the worm is turning just a little bit here for Calgary. Third 2 and out of the second half. And the only points on the board in the second half belong to the Renegades, but only 3 so far.
Oh. And Donovan Carter inside of 5 yards on a 3rd and 4, jumped offside on a punt return.
This is going to give the Stampeders a first down.
No question.
3rd and 4. So the penalty applied.
Offside, Ottawa, number 2. First down.
And
huge error.
Well, he was trying to, you know what he's doing? He's trying to mess around, and he's going to jump and then try and jump back, but I think he makes contact. See how he jumps in there? And then now he jumps up and he tried to jump back, but he made contact with the center. And when he does that, the whistle automatically blows, and now he's got to go and play defense.
Stampeders get a first down that way. First time they've managed a first down in the second half.
And that's one of those ones that you just chalk up to lack of focus and concentration in a key moment, because anytime it's 5 yards or less on 3rd down, you've almost give the opposing team a yard and a half. Not just a yard, give them a yard and a half. You've got to be safe.
Dybert across the 35, met by John Grace. A couple of yards there for Calgary.
But you know the way that Donovan Carter is and the way he plays, an aggressive style of play. And I'm going to be with one eye on Donovan Carter for the rest of this game for that makeup play.
Yeah, he's looking for something special.
He knows better than anybody that he made a crucial error. Now he wants to make amends.
2nd and 9, actually. Calgary. Federick near side has the target, and they call it a catch. Darnell McDonald on the out pattern, hanging on. And the spot will be critical here, but it looks like there's enough for a first down.
And with the lineup that the Calgary Stampeders have to put out there now offensively, you're going to have to see Kevin Federick. You're going to see him throw the football a lot more. That was a nice throw in the out. Good timing to get it to the outside. Coming right at you. But Kevin Federick's going to have to stay in that pocket and throw a little bit more. He doesn't have Lawrence Phillips in there to run the football anymore.
So back-to-back first downs for the Stampeders. Federick.
Oh, he got
in the same area.
Donovan Carter wanted to make up for that play on this play. He came in and rocked Federick.
Don Blair was the target.
There he is. Watch him sneak up here and then go. Sneaks in there. Wilshire, Carter, and pow, right in the ear hole from Donovan Carter. Just a second too late.
2nd and 10, Calgary. Federick looks to the other side. Blair couldn't hang on.
The intended receiver. It is
Yeah, you got to give Federic a little credit for that sequence as well. I mean, that's a ball put on the ground by Blair. I'm not sure he had first down territory anyway because Don Blair was the fourth. But Kevin Federic on the play looked at 3 different receivers. Most quarterbacks in their first start in pro football don't look at 3 different receivers. They look at one and then run.
Omani. Fine kick. This is Ben Ross near the 20. Well covered by Stampeders special teams. Just 3 on the return after a 46-yard punt.
Is it just me, John, or do you get the feeling with Demetrius Bendras that he just runs out of room? He doesn't get tackled. He just runs out of space. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, now see if this offense for the Ottawa Renegades have worked out their cadence problems so that they don't have the offsides, because sooner or later that's going to cost them a big play.
Time ticks down, less than a minute to go in the third quarter, with Calgary clinging to the lead by 9 points. Kerry Joseph looking deep, nice pass, turning into the sun. It was a tough catch to make for Montana.
Joseph looking deep, number 89.
Anthony Pryor was covering.
They're both looking right in that sun. That would have been one tough catch for Denny Montana. He had Anthony Pryor to jump over, and then he had to look right in the sun and try and come up with the football. You see how Pryor dove up through Montana to get his hand on it and looked at it the entire time. You see how they're trying to squint, look up through their helmets, that sun dropping over the corner.
2nd and 10, Ottawa.
Oh, boy.
Joseph slips, and the Renegades will kick it away. Fleming was coming.
Well, it's just,
we'll get credit for the sack.
It's student body, and here you go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another one out here, just out of your frame, up on the line of scrimmage, and they're not hesitating. Alondra Johnson, Willie Fells, Antoine Young, fast break. Let's meet you at the quarterback. And does Fleming get credit for that one? He does. 2nd of the night for Joe Fleming.
You promised Fleming sacks.
Oh, yeah. We promised a touchdown, too. We're trying to deliver. We're trying to deliver.
Wayne McGarrity tries to give the Stampeders field position and does. He's across midfield and into Ottawa territory. Nice return there. Behrman made the tackle after a 15-yard return on the final play of the third quarter. Stampeders have a chance to add to their lead when we come back to begin the fourth.
Well, the first game that we saw in the doubleheader was relatively low scoring in Winnipeg, but that was primarily because of defense. This is a different story here as some young quarterbacks kind of find their way.
Yeah, Dave, you know, the CFL is a great league, but it's a very unique league in the fact that the quarterbacks generally make 2 and as much as 10 times as much money as anybody else in the football team. The reason why is because guys like Calvillo and Dave Dickinson, Kahari Jones and Damon Allen make throws like these 3 young guys are having a hard time doing today. This is an accuracy situation here that 3 of them are facing. It's being under pressure, bullets are flying, and being able to hit open receivers. We've seen 3 quarterbacks today. All 3 of them have been struggling with their accuracy. Here's the latest guy, Kerry Joseph. And it's a question of progression, and eventually these guys are going to get accurate. But for the time being, if you haven't got an accurate passer in the football game, man, you will have a very difficult time winning football games.
Yeah, that's why the importance of missing a Lawrence Phillips for Kevin Federic comes into play. But I guarantee it, Kevin Federic at BYU and the young man, Kerry Joseph from McNeese State, they weren't hit like this, but here we see positive things. Here's the offensive line. They do a nice job of creating a pocket, and then we see a nice little out route here by Andre Kerwin, and Kerry Joseph throws a strike, but it's a better hit by Kelly Malvo. Kelly Malvo, defensive back that was on the bubble during training camp. Another look at it here. Simply just comes up big during training camp in this ball game, Chris. Coach Barker told me that he loves this kid the way he proved himself, and I tell you, he was on the bubble. He came up big there for the Stampeders.
You know, but what a difficult situation for Kerry Joseph, because you know Dan Crowley got all the game reps during practice, so he is truly coming in there cold. But what does Jim Daly do? Defensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders. He sends Alondra Johnson, the 15-year-old vet that has chased well over 100 quarterbacks from behind, and tackled him there. He even chases Matt Dunnigan around. I think that's a smart move because Alondra Johnson knows how these kids will react under pressure, how they'll try to escape. Good move. That's why it worked, Dave.
And the pressure is in on Alondra Johnson and Joe Fleming, that Calgary D, to hang on to this one. They need their first win of the year. They got to get it today. Back to John and Glenn.
That's the huge question right now. Can the Stampeders hang on to a 9-point advantage with 1 quarter to go?
They're going to have to move the football, and they're going to have to do it without Lawrence Phillips.
Lawrence Phillips has gone to the hospital to have his left hand,
and that does not look good. See that left hand looks all swollen up from here. And if it looks swollen from this far away, that's not a good situation. Penalty at the end of the quarter in the third
against Calgary. Federick in trouble on first down. He escapes. They'll remember that play at McMahon Stadium. Federick looked to be all wrapped up and got away.
You know, and then he went back to his strength again and move the sticks any way you possibly can. And that's what he did when he was at BYU, and he needs to do it a bunch so he can add to these stats, because after 3 quarters, well, he's got 159 yards passing, which is decent.
244 net, which is okay. Both teams have given up 2 sacks, and it's the Stampeders on top by 9. On first down, Scott Dybert to the 50. He's run well a couple of times.
You know, and really, Kevin Federick has only made that 1 bad throw in the game. When you look at the 1 interception he threw, that was to St. Louis door, and that was when he was rolling out and under pressure, and just probably threw it when he shouldn't have. But really, his only big mistake, other than that, he's battled. You got to give him credit for that, and gets that from his days at Brigham Young.
6th leading passer at BYU. Over his career, looking at 2nd and 5. So he'll get a first down there. And looking back to those days at BYU, a couple of guys have graduated from that program and done decently well, like Steve Young and Jim McMahon, a couple of Super Bowl guys.
Absolutely, and you know, when you're talking Steve Young, 8,500 passing yards from Kevin Federick is better than Steve Young at BYU. And Steve Young did all right as a quarterback.
He certainly did. A couple of lefties out of BYU. So I think Federick.
Ty Detmer, another one out of BYU.
Little swing pass. Dybert turns it into a first down. Can he get to the end zone? Down to the 10-yard line, Scott Dybert. Vernon Mitchell tracked him down and made the tackle.
You know, and sometimes you just want the quarterback to distribute the ball and make sure he gets it in the hands of all the players that can do something with it. And I think what Scott Dybert's message is to the Ottawa Renegades is, just because Lawrence Phillips is out of the game, don't think that I can't break a tackle or two. It's a pretty good run for Scott Dybert.
35 yards. Native of Moose Jaw, out of Minot State. And Vernon Mitchell is the injured player on the field. We'll check on his condition when we return to the Canada Day Bash at McMahon.
They're ready to play. Are you? Play $1 Million Touchdown to Win at Safeway. If your name appears, you've won.
V-time. 30,000 plus. For the
29th consecutive time over 30,000.
That's terrific. And a big party in the parking lot prior to the game. There'll be a party in Calgary tonight for Canada Day. And a little momentum to get the Stampede week underway as well. First and goal to go. The Stampeders are set up at the Renegades 9-yard line. Federick stands in. Here's the charge. Escape there and can't get away at the 20. Lost big time. Kelly Wiltshire came up to make the tackle. And that will likely cost the Stampeders the opportunity for 6.
You know, I think when Kevin Federick looks at his game, he'll break it down to a couple of decisions that he'd like back. And, you know, and that's going to happen with every player, let alone one that's in his first start. And I think the one just before the half will be one decision. The interception.
Where they missed the opportunity for 3.
For 3. The interception on the side where he could have thrown it out of bounds. And that one will be the third one.
Should have unloaded the ball there.
Throw it out of bounds, reload. Now he gave up over 10 yards.
Second down. Touchdown toss. He gets it. Not quite.
Wiltshire said, I don't think so.
I thought
he had it.
Darnell McDonald had it.
Oh, he had
and
it.
held it, but.
Oh, he had it until the number 1 arrived. Pretty good range there from Kelly Wiltshire. Go from the linebacking core, drop back into the secondary, and watch the close. He has it here. And that separates Darnell McDonald from the football.
So back-to-back plays by number 1 for the Renegades, Kelly Wiltshire, who tracked down Federick and made the tackle, and then made the play on Federick's pass to Darnell McDonald in the end zone. Mark McLaughlin, 4 for 4 coming into the game. Perfect so far this evening. And a 28-yarder.
They blew that one down right away. I think they're going to give a time count violation to Calgary Stampeders, so they'll make Mark McLaughlin do it over again and push him back a little deeper.
Not a huge problem for McLaughlin in range.
Shouldn't be coming in this game. Perfect 100% field goals.
Calgary, number 13. Still third down.
Back to the 33-yard line.
Spotted at the 33 for McLaughlin here. Don Blair puts it down. And McLaughlin continues a perfect string in 2003. He's 7 for 7. The Stampeders lead at 18-6 now. To vote for the Rogers AT&T Wireless Player of the Game. To vote via the internet, go to CFL.ca. To vote using text messaging on your cellular phone, type GO CFL. Either the initial of the team and the players, enter the initial of the team and the player's name, and cast your vote. The rookie Ottawa quarterback still standing somehow.
Pastic finally brought him down, but it took like 3 or 4 tries for that D line. And, you know, when you're talking player of the game, it doesn't always have to be an offensive guy. And this Calgary defensive front 7 has really established the line of scrimmage about 2 yards back in Ottawa's territory. And Kerry Joseph shows some pretty good strength, but he can't beat all of them.
So if you wanted to vote for Joe Fleming, for example, for a couple of sacks, it would be C76.
There you go. That wouldn't be a bad vote right there.
Kelly Wiltshire for a couple of nice defensive plays on that last drive. Should Ottawa come back, it would be 0-1.
Nice hit.
Aubrey Cummings held on, however.
Oh, baby.
On second down.
Wes Lysak. Wes Lysak in his first season. They like Wes Lysak. He has a big. Wes Lysak has a big upside. A little inexperienced.
First round draft pick in a year that the Stampeders had a bunch of picks that they're excited about. Harper's kick down to the 45. And McGarity has stumbled a couple of times tonight. Hits the turf after losing 1 yard.
On the kick for Harper.
Time for the game story, brought to you by Sport Check, Canada's leading sporting goods retailer. Sport Check, the best.
Well, Lawrence
the best value too.
Lawrence Phillips may have been one of our star picks. First half performance. Unfortunately for him, he broke his hand.
Joe Fleming has a couple of sacks for the Stampeders.
Pretty good outing for Kevin Federick when you take a look at the big picture. He's got his team in the lead, poised to win their first game of the season.
And he's moved the ball effectively. The Stampeders have not made touchdowns at times when they were in the red zone and had great opportunities, particularly in the opening half, and missing down here too as well. They were set up at the 9.
And hey, at 18-6, no question this game is not over. But I think if you're Jim Barker, you're happy about one thing. I mean, this is a team in 2 weeks that played the first half like the Incredible Hulk and the second half kind of like Nemo. You know, and that has not been the case in this one. And they've come out and battled, especially defensively. They know what they've done in the second half, or maybe more what they haven't done in the second half. They played much better in the third quarter and into the second half.
Federick spots an opening and takes off. Hammered from behind. And actually got an extra 3 yards out of the tackle by Keaton Cromartie, who hit Federick from behind and helped his forward progress.
You know, and he's taken every one of these hits. He's not looked for a hole to dive into. And Kevin Federick is not a big, huge quarterback. I mean, he is listed at 6 foot, about 200, 205 pounds, and he has taken a bunch of those, and that's Keaton Cromartie at 250, putting his helmet right on that shoulder and ear hole.
You can see the extra 3 yards. Did he advance Federick, however? And on second down, less than a yard to go.
And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter how many touchdown passes you've thrown. It really doesn't matter how many yards you've run for. All that matters is whether or not you get that win. And right now, Federick has the lead.
Scott Regenbald gets the first down. Stampeders have an 18-6 lead on the Ottawa Renegades. Calgary with a first down just shy of the 55. Federick releases in a hurry, and Dybert couldn't hang on. I don't know if sun was a problem for him as well. It's been a tough week in Canadian football. The Renegades at 1-1, played Friday and lost a heartbreaker, 34-32.
Well, that game was as physical as you will see as well, that Friday night game. And of course, Calgary battled Edmonton the night before, so they haven't had a whole lot of time to get ready for this one either.
Blue Bombers were a little black and blue after that game as well, in spite of the fact that they eked out a victory and won again today. So the Bombers are 3-0. Federick escapes again and turns this into a first down. You know, learn to love this guy here pretty quickly.
And you know what happens, John? We just showed you that graphic on the short week, and really what that affects more than anything is, number one, special teams play, and number two, tackling. Watch Jerome Haywood, 99. He has to battle the line of scrimmage. First of all, Ford misses right there. Haywood is going to have a crack at him. Actually, I'm sorry, that was Roger Dunbrook who had a shot at him. Those guys up front, your tackling is the first thing that will drop off when you start to get tired. And in that short work week, that can happen to that D-line in a hurry. As soon as you get tired and you go to tackle, your head drops. And when your head drops, your body will follow along with it. You end up hitting the turf. And of course, Federick didn't play.
Well, he's well rested.
Fresh legs.
First start ever in the CFL, and he's fresh tonight. Picked up a first down.
Oh,
Dybert took a hit and another hit, and still managed 5 yards at least.
Dave Thomas. I mean, this is the goodest collision as you're going to see at the line of scrimmage. He steps up in there and then checks the license plate. I mean, the contact is made, and then he turns around. It's either Keaton Cromartie or Dave Thomas, 54 or 56. It might have been Cromartie, but my goodness. He turned around and then checked the license plate of the truck that just hit him.
They restrict the yardage to a 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7. Here's Dybert. A big run earlier. Nice catch. Nice run by Dybert. Still standing as he crossed the 15-yard line. Get this guy the football a little more frequently. He's been impressive tonight.
Well, you know, and he is auditioning. He's trying to prove to the coaching staff that even if you have Lawrence Phillips back in the lineup or whomever you may bring in as the next tailback, don't rule me out of the offense. And I think Scott Dybert has made a point. Lawrence Phillips has got the ice on his hand, and he's enjoying it from the sideline. I know Scott Dybert could run like that.
Lawrence Phillips having his best night as a Stampeder, but Dybert with 20 rushing yards.
Oh boy.
And here he goes again. Throws the pass. He's got Federick. Federick looks to the end zone. Touchdown!
Oh, baby. Oh, man.
This is the guy they booed when he played quarterback in the preseason. I'm speaking not of Dybert, of Federick.
Well, and how about Scott Dybert? I don't know how he got the throw on in there. So we've seen he can catch the ball a little bit. We've shown that he can run it. Oh, and by the way, Scott Dybert can throw the football.
Federick did not play well against the BC Lions in the preseason here at McMahon.
But did against Winnipeg in the next preseason game on the road.
But I was talking about the Boo Birds were out here
in that
Calgary,
BC game, without a doubt. And there was an article in the paper about it. And people wondering why they were booing Federick. He hasn't even had a chance to play much.
Objection of conduct. Ottawa, number 29, will be played in the kickoff.
And a little frustration shown by the Ottawa Renegades after the fact. But what a play. First of all, that's a play that had to be designed for Lawrence Phillips.
Absolutely. I mean, why would you think that Dybert would have a chance to
be carrying the ball that much and be in that position?
To have a look at that. Well, how about it? Kevin Federick gets his chance and makes the most of it. But how about Scott Dybert, the kid from Moose Jaw? A touchdown toss to the quarterback. You gotta love this game. Scott Dybert has a touchdown toss to the guy he's sitting beside the quarterback.
They're enjoying this one.
Yeah.
And
Kevin
so they
Federick.
should. You know, what a play by Scott Dybert. I mean, if you want to vote for most valuable player of the game, why not Scott Dybert?
You're changing your mind from defense to offense.
Well, I'm flip-flopping a little bit.
Yeah.
I could do that. Let's just take a look at this. This may just got a few votes for Mr. Dybert. He's going to go this way with the football. First of all, he's going to beat Clinton Wayne, who has him wrapped up right there. Now he gets around him. Now watch Grace hit him in the mouth as he's throwing the football back to the quarterback, Federick. And, you know, I'll tell you something. What I love, two things. You see him dive into the end zone there. That's great effort from Kevin Federick, who tried to sell it by nonchalantly coming out to the sideline. Now watch him dive at the end. And then I absolutely love the celebration from Kevin Federick. He is so pumped up about that play.
Oh, almost 6 more for the Calgary Stampeders. Davis Sanchez had it in his hands and dropped it.
And John, enthusiasm like Kevin Federick just showed is infectious, and it translated into that play for Davis Sanchez, and all he had to do was catch the football. I mean, this is a young guy who's under more pressure than any young quarterback, and there's his release. There's his chance to say, yeah, baby.
Well, we've never seen anything like it at any level of football.
Well,
Vendros out to the 32, and all I mean by that is,
I agree with
here
you.
is a kid who is the starting quarterback for the team that his father bought after he was picked up by the Calgary Stampeders 3 years ago. His father came up and purchased the team from Sig Gucci. We're speaking of Federic, number 7 there. These two guys are the best friends in history right now, Federic and Dybert.
I couldn't agree with you more. And all that Kevin Federic has listened to for 3 years is that the only reason that he's even on the team is because he is the owner's son. And you know, totally unfair to him because of his stats at BYU and the fact that he's played some great college football.
And a lot of guys in this league, when you look back at it, Glenn, have been on the sidelines as backup quarterbacks for a long time. And you think of the guy who's playing in Winnipeg these days who watched Damon Allen for 3 seasons in BC. And Kahari Jones has turned into the CFL's, well, at least one of the CFL's outstanding quarterbacks and the outstanding player in the league 2 years ago.
Well, I love the emotion. There's, you know, when you look at the play of Federic and you see him never hook sliding on a play, you know, no question, when he threw the football tonight, wasn't accurate all of the time. Made a couple of very nice throws, dumped the ball off when he had to Scott Dybert, a couple to Wayne McGarity, made some plays underneath. I love the way with how courageous he was running the football, and then that enthusiasm at the end really caps off what has been probably a very, very tough week for that young man right there.
Well, yeah, and it would be easy to criticize his abilities in a lot of ways because of his father's ownership of the team, but he's had his opportunity, and what he's done tonight is make the best of the chance that he was given.
Go get it, Wayne, go get it.
No yards, and perhaps a face mask too. Well, we'll check that out when we return. Into the final 3. So Kevin Federic has the lead for the Calgary Stampeders at 25-6, but he won't finish the ball game, or at least he won't be on the field for this next sequence for the Calgary offense. Marcus Crandall is out there now.
At the very end of the play, when he dove into the end zone after the celebration was over, he started to limp a little bit right on the bench, Federic, and the training staff took a look at him. It doesn't look serious, but they're just being sure with Kevin Federic, so they give Marcus Crandall a chance. And actually, they're going to go with Darnell Kennedy because Crandall also is nicked, and he's got that groin. They certainly don't want to put him in there when he's cold.
So Crandall was on the field, and he's off now. Penalties to these Renegades have given Calgary outstanding field position, and Dybert gets another opportunity to handle the football and makes the most of it with a nice gain there of 8 yards.
Well, he's made the most of this entire game, Scott Dybert.
Well, if he's not the player of the game, as voted by the fans, how about Glenn's Gladiator?
Well, he would be if it was a Friday night football game.
Boy, you can't be a gladiator on Tuesday.
Hey, if it was the big show, he'd be the gladiator.
Oh.
Or at least
that's disappointing. I mean, we've got a perfect gladiator.
What a great game. And you know, it's amazing how you get a guy like Scott Dybert, 6 years in the league, and all that special teams work, gets a chance to play offense, and away he goes.
3-minute warning in Calgary. Voting on the Rogers AT&T Wireless Player of the Game continues. And to cast your vote on the internet, CFL.ca, on text messaging on your cell phone, go CFL. We've narrowed it down to number 7 or number 4. That would be C7 or C4, but Fleming's in there as well.
Well, yeah, and he should be. That defense has played real well.
We hate to influence your voting, but
I'm flip-flopping.
Loose ball fumbled by Darnell Kennedy.
Well, probably the most important thing, John, when you look at the big picture of this team, the Calgary Stampeders have played a good second half of football. And they haven't given up the bad turnover, the bad field position. I mean, this team absolutely crumbled in 2 games where they had nice leads, and they came out of the halftime tunnel and just crumbled, and they haven't done that tonight. That's got to be a huge confidence builder for this football team.
18-3 lead over the Alouettes in game 1, and they were leading by a substantial margin into the final seconds of the opening half.
In Edmonton.
Edmonton.
I want to say 18-6.
Yeah.
There.
Eskimos scored late, and the Eskimos carried the momentum into the second half. Here's Dybert. Another huge hit taken by Dybert. Donovan Carter had him lined up. 2:08 to go. Stampeders continue the march.
And if you're the Ottawa Renegades and you're Joe Paopao, you may have a bit of a quarterback, I want to say controversy at this point, but at least a decision to make when you're going into what should be a longer work week, more of a realistic work week for this football team. And now, how many of the first team reps does Kerry Joseph take in practice?
Federick is not in there. Dybert gets the call. Federick has a slightly twisted ankle, so that's the reason he is on the sideline right now. And Darnell Kennedy is at the controls. Scott Dybert, 40 rushing yards, 66 receiving, and then the touchdown pass.
That's right. With pressure in his face. He read the blitz and got it out of there in a hurry. Neck brace and all. He's got the big neck roll on, and he threw a strike.
Enough for the first down. They're trying to get Dybert the touchdown here as he gets a carry for a couple of yards, and the Renegades are expecting that number 4 might be the ball carrier.
These are two tired football teams, and you can tell that at the end. They've got the scars on the helmet to prove it. Dybert's got that, see the big neck row, he's got the strawberry on his left arm. Now, these guys have been through a battle over the last 5-6 days. You just can't play football and play 2 games over 5 or 6 days and not pay for it for a while. These guys are awful slow getting up right now.
2nd and goal to go. Stampeders at the 4. They fake it to Dybert. Toss it to the end zone. There's the touchdown. McGarity has the touchdown. And the first one thrown by Darnell Kennedy.
Darnell Kennedy, he may have been lined up down there around the 10-yard line, but he threw that ball about 45 yards. Field is 65 yards wide, and he let that go to the opposite corner of the end zone. I mean, little play action here. Come out this way. There's the play action. Opposite hash mark all the way to the horse in the back of the end zone.
And quick 6, the Stampeder touchdown. Horse has had a busy evening, along with rider Karen Drake. Solid effort by the Calgary Stampeders all around, and McGarity gets the touchdown to make it 32-6. An emotional night for the owner of the Calgary Stampeders, Michael Federick. On the right of your screen, he saw his son play for the first time in Canadian football as a starter, and Kevin Federick got the job done.
And folks, I tell you what, it doesn't matter if your son is playing pee-wee hockey or city league football or whatever it is. That's the face of a proud dad on the sideline. Right there.
Yeah, it's never easy to watch your kids in athletics, is it?
It is not, and it's a ton of fun to do it, but you're as nervous as they are. And I talked to Michael Federick before the game as well. He real excited about his son's opportunity, and that's the face of a proud dad, and so he should be. His football team has their first win.
Now, we're not sure if Michael was text messaging to vote for the star of the game, but he's likely got access to a cell phone or 2.
He might have whirled the buttons.
C7, baby, yes. Josh Ronick on a long night for the Ottawa Renegades, who never really got it going. There were some bright moments when the backup quarterback came in, Kerry Joseph. We're on to Vancouver for Wendy's Friday Night Football this week. Damon's return.
Yeah, the guys have a short work week. Then they got to get on the plane and travel. So they got the travel day, short work week. It's a tough week for them, too.
Oh, you're talking about the panel?
Yeah, the panel.
Oh, yeah.
Short work week.
Certainly.
You got a couple days. They got a travel day. We got to watch their stamina to make sure they get plenty of fluids.
Well, they'll have the masseuse traveling with them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
the entire medical team.
Yeah. Jock's hair guy.
Joseph passing for number 5, Aubrey Cummings, incomplete.
Your hair's not happy, you're not
No,
happy.
you're not. You
No.
can't be happy with unhappy hair.
With the defense.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few days with the quarterback situation with the Ottawa Renegades. And Kerry Joseph has shown some things in the preseason. He ran around pretty well for a series or two in this game. He had some problems with timing with his receivers, and that's pretty normal.
Nice pass there. Aubrey Cummings from Kerry Joseph and Jason Bray.
And I don't know that it's time that Kerry Joseph just takes over the controls. I don't think you just rule out Dan Crowley that quickly, but you could see in Ottawa Kerry Joseph take a lot more of the reps with the first team just to get that timing down, and that takes reps away from Dan Crowley.
Joseph almost had it intercepted. It deflects right to Aubrey Cummings.
It's Aubrey Cummings again, number 5.
Hamilton native out of Acadia University.
Well, and the other thing that Kerry Joseph saw was Willie Fells, Alondra Johnson. He saw a sea of red in front of him, and turned out to be a deficit.
Talk about a deficit. The Stampeders were in one. A nice toss here for the touchdown.
That was a great throw.
Demetris Bendros has the touchdown for the Ottawa Renegades.
And that goes a long
61
way.
yards.
Yeah, it won't make a difference on the scoreboard as far as coming back and winning this game, but that goes a long way to prove that he could throw the football down the field, and this is a nice throw down the seam to Demetris Bendros.
Fields ends up chasing him into the end zone, so Bendros, who's the key receiver on this Renegade team.
They'll go for 2.
32-12 on the scoreboard now with 16 seconds remaining.
Alondra Johnson was late coming on the field for that 2-point convert, so he called a timeout immediately. Two-point.
Delay game, Calgary.
He didn't call it in time.
Half the distance.
There were at least one player short. 2 go on and 1 trots off for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, and I'm sure Calgary's not too worried about losing this game, but what they are worried about is having that mindset come back that they've stopped playing football before the final gun went off.
Two-point conversion attempt for Ronick, and that one is missed by Kerry Joseph.
To avoid sun exposure, spend some quality time in the shade. OLN prevents the signs of premature aging by indulging the armchair traveler every night of the week. Take an alternate route to exotic destinations. Pilot Guides your ticket to this not-so-lonely planet. And get your tan lines on some of Canada's best beaches. Make the Corona Sunblock Hour part of your daily routine. Presented by Corona. Miles away from ordinary.
Stampeders en route to their first victory of 2003. Kerry Joseph gets his first starts in the Canadian Football League. First career CFL pass, a 61-yarder to Demetris Bendros. And talk about the pressure on the young quarterback in Calgary. How about the relief that Jim Barker is feeling as a result of what's transpired here this afternoon?
Well, you know, there's a couple things that he did in this game to solidify his message to the team, and that was early in the game on a 3rd down gamble on the 1-yard line. He went for it, and that's just reinforcing the message, and his message is we're going to play that way, so get it in your mindset that we're going to play aggressively when we have a chance. Didn't work for them. They were held on the goal line. Didn't work for them the first time, but sooner or later that message will sink into his football team and they'll be better for it.
Short kick. And who touched it? They mark it down there with 15 seconds left.
Well, I think Ottawa may have touched it, but it was the kick was too short. It has to go 10 yards.
Talking about it being this afternoon, it's 11:07 Eastern time, but this game started at 6 o'clock Mountain time, and we're still under brilliant sunshine here in Calgary. So it feels like an afternoon encounter, and there's lots more daylight ahead at this time of the year in Alberta.
Both teams get a well-deserved rest.
Well, no team has dodged the bullet in this quick turnaround in the first 2 weeks of the season. Everyone has been involved in the quick turnaround, and there's more games to come before it's over with the Argonauts in BC against the Lions. After playing last night, they'll play the Friday night game.
Well, in Calgary won't play till their next game is July 11th in Hamilton. It's on Friday night. So they have a nice break before they have to play again. Chance to get off their legs and rest a little bit. And it's nicer when you do it after a win. You have a bit of a break. Ottawa Renegades. They play again on the Thursday, the night before. They also get a nice little break.
14 seconds still on the clock here at McMahon Stadium.
And it'll be an important break for Joe Paopau's team because they need to regroup. This is a team that has come back and has shown that it's improved itself over a year ago. And this will be their first loss in their last three, on the road, dating back to last year, the last game of the season. It's a big week for them to bounce back and come and play hard Thursday the 10th.
That will be all she wrote. Jim Barker gets his first win as the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders. One happy guy after what's gone on, but I don't know if he's any happier than his quarterback, Kevin Federick.
Oh, yeah, the pressure just off the back of Kevin Federick, and there was a bunch of it.